I can drop a world lead, I don't even like running. You gotta run fast just to go and get some money. I'm no Elias K, you know how I'm coming. I ain't going to no Olympics, I ain't running, I ain't jumping. I can make 100,000 at the crib being funny.
Yes, I'm not going to be pleased that there may be athletes in my race that are taking drugs, but I can't. What can I do? You know what I mean? I have to just focus on running and winning, even if they're in the race.
But you've been directly affected yourself. You've lost one of your gold medals because of that.
It's true. But as I said,
How does that make you feel?
I'm not happy about it. I haven't actually seen Nesta since that has actually happened, for me and him to really have a conversation to say, all right, what happened? So initially when I heard that I had to give back my medal, I was unhappy and I was upset, but then I was like, you know what? I can't be upset on somebody that I haven't talked to face to see and to hear and to see in his face and to listen to what he has to say to me, you know what I mean? I have no power over this anymore. You can't get too angry about something you can't really change, you know what I mean? All I have to do is continue getting tested and proving to the world that I'm fine, because it shows that if you cheat, you will get caught.
In the golden era of Jamaica sprinting, when Usain Bolt, Asafa Powell, Johan Blake were rewriting history on the track, one man who quietly ran in their shadows, a man whose blistering speed helped deliver gold medals, world records, and glory for Jamaica. But years later, his name will resurface, not as a hero, but as one of the sport's most controversial figures. His medals stripped, his reputation shattered, and his legacy rewritten. This is the story of Nesta Carter, the sprinter who became one of track and field's most notorious dopers. Nesta Carter was never the star. He was never the showman, never the face of Puma campaigns or the headline act at Diamond Leagues. But what he was fast, very fast. Born in Banana Ground, Manchester Parish, Jamaica, Carter rose through the ranks as a disciplined sprinter specializing in the 100 meters. By 2008, he had earned a coveted spot on the Jamaican's 4x1 relay team, a relay stacked with legends, Bolt, Powell, Frater. It was Carter who led them off. His explosive starts came the foundation for what many call the greatest relay team in history. In Beijing, Jamaica shocked the world, smashing the world record with 37:10. Bolt danced, the crowd roared, and Jamaica had officially arrived as the sprinting empire. Carter was suddenly a world champion, an Olympic gold medalist, and a part of history. But what the world didn't know was that history wasn't finished with Nesta Carter. In fact, history was about to hunt him down. For years, whispers circulated about Jamaica's sprinting dominance. Critics questioned how such a small island could produce an assembly line of sprinting gods, and the shadow of doping always lingered. Yet Carter remained in the background. He didn't make the same headlines as Bolt or Blake. He was steady, reliable, almost invincible, until the International Olympic Committee came knocking. In 2016, the IOC launched a sweeping retest of samples from the Beijing Olympics, using much more advanced technology than what was used in 2008. Hundreds of athletes fell under renewed scrutiny, and one of those athletes was Nesta Carter. The results were damning. Carter's sample tested positive for a banned stimulant, a substance linked to many energy products, but forbidden in track and field. With that positive test, everything unraveled. 8 years after Jamaica's iconic Beijing triumph, the gold medal was gone. Bolt, Powell, Frater, and Carter stripped of their Olympic relay title. For the first time in his career, Usain Bolt himself lost the gold medal, and it wasn't because of him. It was because of Nesta Carter. And in 2016, when they decided to do the retest from 2008, they only chose random samples, and Carter just happened to be one of them. So who's to say that he was the only positive test, even from that team? Because this team essentially came out of nowhere during this time period. And it was asinine to see such a small country randomly pop up and display such dominance. The fallout was immediate. Bolt called it heartbreaking. The Jamaican press branded it as a national embarrassment. Carter appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sports, insinuating that he never intentionally doped. But the cast rejected his appeal in 2018. The decision stood. Carter's medal was gone. Jamaica's golden sweep of Beijing erased from the books. And for Nesta Carter, the stigma was permanent. No matter how quiet he kept, no matter how hard he trained, his name was now tied to scandal. But Carter's case wasn't just about one man. It was about an entire era. Track and field has been long haunted by doping scandals, from Ben Johnson in 1988, Marion Jones in the early 2000s, to the Russian state-sponsored program. Carter's downfall was another reminder that no nation, no matter how dominant, is immune to the doping shadows. And for Jamaica, Carter's suspension cracked open a painful reality. Even their golden relay dynasty wasn't untouchable. In December of 2021, 13 years after his first positive test from the Olympics, Nesta Carter was given a 4-year ban after testing positive for another drug during an out-of-competition test in March of 2021. The maximum possible sanction was 8 years, but the panel gave him 4 years because his first violation from 2008 revealed retroactively in 2016 was outside of the World Anti-Doping Agency's 10-year statute of limitations for multiple offenses. So after this happened in 2021, Nesta Carter officially retired. His career included multiple relay golds, world championship medals, and a personal best of 9:78 seconds, one of the fastest times in history. But as one today, and his legacy is stained. For some, he is remembered as the ultimate team player who helped Jamaica rise to dominance. For others, he's one of the biggest dopers in sprinting history, a man whose mistake cost even Usain Bolt a place in history. The truth? Perhaps it lies somewhere in between. A talented sprinter overshadowed by giants who made a choice or a mistake that would forever follow him. But in the end, Nesta Carter's story is not just about medals. It's about trust, about how one failed test can unravel an empire, and about how the shadows of doping still linger, even in the brightest moments of victory. Because in the world of track and field, glory can last a lifetime, but scandals can last forever. Now that that's over, I want to be 100% honest about situations like this. Nesta Carter is deemed a bad person in track and field. He has a negative connotation around his career and his legacy, but he's no different than our favorite runner. The only difference between Nesta Carter and our favorite runner is Nesta Carter got caught. Because I often articulate, to run certain times in this sport, you have to do certain things. Bottom line, I don't care how talented you are as a kid. Nesta Carter was a talented junior. I don't care what your religion is. If you're overly Christian, that doesn't mean anything. You're going to do certain things to run fast in this sport, and that's the bottom line. No way around it. So when I see people try to deem people as negative or bad people because they failed drug tests, they're doing the exact same thing your favorite runner is doing. Your favorite runner is either doing it smarter or just protected. That's the only difference. Because just think about if they didn't go back and randomly select Nesta Carter's sample from 2008. They would have selected somebody else's sample and theirs would have tested positive. And Nesta Carter's would have never tested positive or never been retested. No one would have ever known him as a doper. And just think about how we often say, this person is always tested and these people are tested. You see, they have all of these samples collected. And usually the anti-doping testing is usually behind what the dopers are actually doing. So it's really hard to catch them anyways because microdosing is really heavy. And a lot of these tests aren't even advanced. And I noticed that when they do test, they don't test for every drug when they do these tests. Certain tests only just test for certain things. So you can get away with a lot of things. But hey, that's a story for another day. Y'all let me know what y'all think down below in the comments. Until next time, I'm out.
World champion of what?
World champion of what? I can drop a world lead, I don't even like running. You gotta run fast just to go and get some money. I'm Noah Lies K, you know how I'm coming. I ain't going to no Olympics, I ain't running, I ain't jumping. I can make 100,000 at the crib being funny.